Hey, welcome everyone back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and you've joined us for another weekly live call-in talk show all about the Wheel of Time. Now, before we get started, before I introduce my guest, I want to make a couple of announcements. First, we finally started a little Discord channel. I think you can find it in the description if you want to try to join us there. It's new. It's just me and a couple of my friends. You've met them before, Todd, Tal, and Mary. But if you want to come over there, join us, and during the show we'll eventually figure out a way to integrate maybe the voice in, and instead of always having to call us, maybe we'll move you in off of Discord. Who knows? Second announcement, we're putting together a little Dusty Wheel website. Give it a 2 weeks, we'll have it for you. It'll be kind of a center of all things the Dusty Wheel, including kind of the latest shows we're doing. We'll eventually get that podcast going that we talked about, and maybe we'll even throw a little store in. And our third announcement is next week, if you're with us, we wanted to make sure you come and see our live adaptation. It's a lot of fun. We're on the Great Hunt right now. It's episode, I think, 3 of the Great Hunt. And we're going to have a special guest. I don't know if you've ever met her. Rebecca from Reading the Pattern. She's awesome. She has this awesome YouTube channel. Check her out. She'll be with us next week. So that's it. Those are our announcements. Now, what you're really here for is our monthly recap, live discussion of Wheel of Time on Prime news. And there was a lot of news. And not only that, there was really, really awesome news, if you ask me. But let's bring my panelists in before we do that. And welcome, everyone, to the show. Todd, Tal, and Mary, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate your time and everything. But our special guest tonight is John from the WoT Up YouTube channel. John, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So John is known, I guess, by some of us as the Canadian Nameless. If you look really closely,
a little prettier than he is.
A little prettier. I don't know, Nameless, if you're watching, feel free to comment below. Thank you for being with me tonight. We have a lot of news to get through. But before we do that, I want to wish Todd a happy 20th birthday. 20 plus 30.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Todd. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's get going. The first thing I want to cover, and I guess before I do that, there are going to be spoilers. For those of you that are worried about that tonight, there's going to be spoilers just because this is the news. I'm going to try to keep the spoilers about the production still. If you've heard of this leaked photo from the set, I'm going to try to keep that till the end of the show. So if you were wanting to stick around until then, I'll announce it and I'll let you know when that's happening. But there's going to be spoilers, know that. Okay, so this first piece of news I wanted to cover had to do with the Deadline article that came out in January. I don't know if all of you saw this, but this is the Amazon Studio brass. They were really optimistic. I think it was Jennifer Salke or Salk, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, and then Vernon Sanders, studio boss and co-head of TV. They said, material coming out of production looks incredible. They feel incredibly optimistic, and we love what we've seen so far. That really got me excited about the long-term possibilities for the show. Obviously, they're getting out ahead of this. They want to make sure that everyone knows that this is something special, and then they're looking forward to it. Considering, other shows are getting canceled, maybe that just aren't up to snuff, if you will. So, what was your reaction, John, to this news from Deadline as far as this article? Did it encourage you also? Kind of, what was your reaction?
I was happy to hear it. Not terribly surprised. If Amazon's putting in the amount of money they're putting in behind this, they're going to say they like it whether they do or not. to be quite honest with you,
yeah, that's
but
true.
it is encouraging because there's a void right now. The Witcher just came out. It was fantastic as far as I was concerned. It was a good adaptation, and I think Amazon wants some of that money. So I think they're going to push and do everything they can to make this the next Game of Thrones, at least the next 5 seasons of Game of Thrones. Anyway, we won't talk about the later ones.
Well, that's they did say, and I think Witcher. I want to say that Netflix said that it's like the most popular show or one of the most popular shows from this last year. It seemed like it was so popular that even I guess the Wheel of Time series being the next Witcher at this point, from just a popularity standpoint, would be would be a great thing. I don't know if Mary, did you have a reaction to this kind of this Deadline article? I don't know if you had kind of gotten to dig in. What did it mean to you that they came out with this?
It told me that they, like John said, they're going to like it. They're going to hype it because they have skin in the game. They want it to be successful. And, I'm trying to keep my expectations under control, but I'm also like, oh my God. And it's quite the dichotomy there. And it's been fun.
I think that's the sentiment, at least coming out of January for me, is that, there was a lot of news, from September on, but January just seemed like an overwhelming amount of it, to the point where there's a little squee of fanboy inside of me going like, oh gosh, when you look at this statement by the Amazon studio heads, like, Tal, do you think that this means we're gonna see the series this year? Do you think we're gonna get it before the end of the year, or do you think it's gonna it's not gonna be until 2021?
I mean, he says he's got a quarter in mind and that it's too soon to say. In my heart of hearts, I really want fourth quarter 2020.
Yeah.
But I question what post is going to look like for them. And that's going to eat up most of their time. A 6-month shooting schedule is pretty common for something of this genre. From the research that I've done, but post, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Ty. I just have a question, because my first thought, what exactly production, does that mean they're into editing? Does that mean they're watching it? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I think part of that is when I think it was Priyanka put out that they're definitely putting together sizzle reels. They're definitely putting together footage, and perhaps the production still that we'll talk about later. Perhaps that's something that the studio, the bosses saw. Like perhaps that's part of the sizzle reel package that that was seen. Who knows? But it's they clearly have not. It doesn't sound like they've seen full episodes or anything like that. But they're seeing material come out, whether or not it's full scenes.
The article said quite clearly that he hadn't seen footage, like that he hadn't seen a finished product yet. When's Comic-Con?
Great question. I think it's in September, August, September timeframe, I think.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. It's before TIFF. They're not dropping as many things at Comic-Con these days. They've really pulled back from making it the huge Marvel drop it used to be. But who knows? Maybe they're getting sizzle reels for Geek Fests. Oh my God, JordanCon? What?
That would be, a sizzle reel at Comic-Con would be, at JordanCon. Yeah.
At JordanCon,
that would be.
Drop it at JordanCon. That'd be nice of them.
Well, that'd be really April.
That'd be a nice
Comic-Con
engagement.
is in July in San Diego.
Oh, sorry.
It could be. They could. It could happen.
Is it April yet?
Right. For those of you that haven't ever been to JordanCon, it's definitely a place to be if you're a Wheel of Time fan. You should definitely go. If not this year, next year is going to be crazy. I mean, honestly, JordanCon in 2021. Brandon,
book your hotels now.
I want to say Brandon will probably be back by then, if I'm not mistaken. And plus, exactly. We'll definitely have. I can't imagine it going past the first quarter of 2021 when they release the series. I guess it's possible, but I'm not sure. So. The next piece of news, which I thought was really interesting, that came out of January, was definitely the 30th anniversary of the Eye of the World publication. It was a lot of fun. Jason Denzel posted a picture with the moon becoming the 30. When did the four of you? I'm kind of interested in this, and maybe we'll go back to you, John. When did you start reading the Wheel of Time? Like when was your Eye of the World moment?
My Eye of the World moment was the year it was released, that December. So I got a gift card to a local bookshop, and I went in, and it had just come out paperback, and I got it then, and I read it before New Year's. So I think I picked up the 27th or 28th, and it was done before New Year's, and I was that
Nice.
would have been. I was young.
I was young.
Very young.
You didn't want to date. It's been their 30. Have you been with us for 20? How long is it? Like generally, how long have you been a fan? I'm just kind of curious.
More than 30.
More than 30.
So yeah, it's been out 30. I've been a fan for 30, but I've been alive a lot longer than that.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Todd, how long? When was I can't remember when you hit the Eye of the World. What was your? What for you? When was the Eye of the World?
I always have a problem remembering this because I was flying back from college and I went to the bookstore in the airport and I bought a book because it had a half book with it for free. And it was the first half of the Eye of the World. And everybody says it came out in 90, but I swear that was in 89 that half book came out that was with that other book. And that's the year that I started reading it. And I had to wait to find the rest of it. And then I found the whole Eye of the World and then moved on from there after that. So it was 89, 90, but I changed schools in 1990. So I was living in Memphis. So I wouldn't have been flying anywhere. So that's why I want to say it was 89, but
Interesting.
I can never find out for sure when that half book came out.
Wow, we are old, everyone.
Yeah.
By the way,
no
those
kidding.
in chat, I'm kind of curious how long you've been reading the Wheel of Time. So I would like to see some numbers there. When did you pick up the Eye of the World? What do you remember the most, Mary, from the Eye of the World? Like, do you remember the first time you read it?
I do.
What stuck out to you the most?
Like Todd, I picked it up in the airport because I was flying cross country and I needed a really big book to keep me entertained. And this was June of 91, so not as long as some of the other folks here. But I remember, I missed it by a year.
Yeah, I know. Geez, 29 years.
Yeah, 29 years. And then I just remember just being just fully engaged in the story. It was a 6-hour flight and I didn't even notice time passing because I was just so into the book. It was really engaging. It was it's a great chase book. It really is. And I remember, when's the next one coming out? When's the next one coming out? And I distinctly remember when The Shadow Rising came out in hardcover. I was at the mall with my brother and I saw it in the Walden Books window and I like screeched like a rabid fangirl and just bolted for the bookstore. And I think I bowled over at least one, if not two toddlers on the way to run in and grab the book and buy it. And I was reading it as we were walking through the mall because my brother wasn't done shopping yet. So I've been a little bit engaged for a very long time. And like, you started Theoryland in what, August of 98? And I wandered in April. Okay. So I wandered in August, September of 98 and have been an online fan geek for, a very long time.
Very long. Nice. That's a good one. Yeah. My memory of it is definitely library geek moment where the librarian kind of pointed me over to another book because I'd read all of the other ones. I'd done the Eddings and the Feist and the Weiss and Hickman. And she's like, you might like that one. And I looked at the cover as much as we make fun of it. And I was like, yeah, that looks right up my alley. And, things have been different ever since. Tal, what's your memory coming out of the Eye of the World? But when did you actually pick that up?
93. I was gifted 2 life-changing books that year for Christmas. And I read the prologue and put it down for a solid 9 months because the other book was the Fiona of Our Tapestry by Guy Gavriel Kay, and I did that for a solid 9 months and then went back to Eye of the World and was like, oh wait, the prologue is not the book. And then I was all in.
The prologue is not the book. Yeah, you are the youngest of us, Tal.
I am
93. Oh.
How old were you in 93?
11.
Wait, did you say 11?
No.
I would have totally believed it. I'm too old to count anymore. Okay, so those 2 pieces of news were just awesome. That would have made January just a kind of a cool Wheel of Time on Prime January. But then we got Priyanka Bose, is it? She actually posted a selfie, or I guess not a selfie. She posted a script for episode 5, Blood Calls Blood, and then she deleted that. I think it was on Instagram. She deleted it, and then like the next day, or it was 2 days later, I can't remember exactly what it was. Then all of a sudden, we just started getting script selfies from everyone. We have that image of all the script selfies. It has all of the actual actors that were there. It's Moraine, Lan, Loyal. Right there. And that one, it was just really cool to see everyone. But there was something kind of really interesting about this. One of these was Matt. And I want to get to Matt because he didn't show up that day when they had all the selfies come out. But before we jump to Matt, John, what was your reaction that day when like these 12, 13 actors started posting, images of the selfies?
Well, when Priyanka dropped that picture and then deleted it right away, I did a video on it, like I think that night. And I distinctly remember saying that this is probably going to be deleted. And it was. I mean, she took it down. Amazon tightly controls everything. And I think they realized at that point, the information was out there. And I've said it before, anything that's on the internet is there forever. It never goes away.
That's true.
So they thought, why not capitalize on it? So when these things started coming out, I was glued to my phone, watching them come out. Like it was awesome. It was good to see a lot of the cast do that. And there was some talk that maybe they're doing it solidarity. I can't talk tonight with Priyanka. It was planned, 100% planned. It was just a lot of it was set up. It was, but it was really good to see. Like I liked it.
Yeah, that was definitely a planned thing, and what I loved about it was we got some new casting announcements. We got Leandrin and we got Liana, and we also got Bella a little bit later, like a day or two later, and Peter Franzen was in there. I don't know, like it was weird because I actually really liked Leandrin. Was always kind of this lame character to me. I mean, she's important, but just kind of the lame mustache twirling kind of villain, if you will. But I saw this actress that's going to play her, and I was like, oh man, she seems like a really nice person. All of a sudden I was like, I feel some, empathy for this person who has to play Leander. And I'm really hoping she just digs into that character and really makes something really good.
I'm looking forward to it. She played Lady Macbeth in the theater. So I'm
really?
Yes, this is going to be awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm hoping, that would be amazing. I'm hoping she just does Leandrin like justice. I want to see something amazing. I really want to hate that character, but just because it's so well done. For sure.
Do y'all get these names and then YouTube the shit out of them right as soon as you get them? Because that's what I do to go see what they say, what they sound like and look like. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tal, what was your favorite part of this? These script selfies, the casting announcements. Kind of who stood out to you? What was it that you loved the most about it?
The actress they've cast to play Alana, whose name is escaping me right now.
Priyanka.
Is the coolest.
Oh, sorry. You said, did you say Alana or did you say Liana?
No, Alana.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Priyanka.
Yeah, Priyanka. She's so freaking cool. I want to be besties.
Well, the actress that's playing, I think Jennifer Cheon Garcia that's playing Liana, she seems really, really engaging with the fans. She's awesome.
She's the only Canadian on the cast so far, so I'm happy with that.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, what was your reaction overall to the casting announcements? What was your favorite that came out? Was it Bella?
Bella, 100%.
Was it 100% Bella?
Yeah. Gender controversy aside, of course.
Gender controversy aside, I love it.
No, I haven't seen my favorite character cast yet, so I'm reserving judgment. But I'm happy with every casting announcement they've made so far. I know some people aren't, but I think they killed it with everything so far. Like they've all been really, really well. So.
Yeah, I think that I have loved everything so far. I can't say there's one, but maybe it's just because I'm a fanboy at this point. Maybe it's be hard to kind of ruin it. Although it's because, like you said, a lot of my favorites have not been picked yet. Right? Lanfear is going to matter. Varen's going to matter to me.
Varen's my favorite. So.
Yeah. So and Patton Fane, I think.
Awesome casting.
Yeah, awesome casting. I can't wait.
They couldn't get anyone better to play that character, I don't think.
Yeah, it absolutely is living in my head right now as Patton Fane for sure. But okay, so what I thought was interesting though, and let's address my little theory here, and then I want to cover Narg's theory, and then we're going to jump into the production still. But my theory, and I want to know what everyone thinks about this. We've got a lot of this pacing question going on with the episodes, right? It's do 5 and 6? Are we already in Faldara? Is it already into the Great Hunt? Nablus put in a video out showing how we could get to, I think, the end of the Great Hunt. Like it's possible to do both books in 8 episodes. And then so the question is, we're getting a lot of this news, and what does it all mean? Now, we didn't get a script selfie of Barney Harris. He didn't show up that day, right? And people were, people kind of freaked out a little bit, like, where's Matrim? Where's Barney? And a Twitter user actually wrote him and said, hey, can you just send us a picture with the script so we know you're still part of this and you're still alive? In essence, I think that was the idea. I don't remember the exact request. And he did. He sent back that image that we have of him with the script. And he's looking at the script, and everyone was joking about this. It's like everyone made kind of some memes about what this means. For me, though, it does suggest the following, and I want you to follow me here. where in the script or the book, when it comes to the Eye of World, would Matt not be speaking and not be seen or have necessarily a part? And to me, when I thought about that, in other words, why wouldn't he have been at a table read potentially? I don't know, maybe he was there, but let's say he wasn't at the table read. How would that be possible? And it would be possible if they were in Camelin and Matt was back at the inn and he wasn't, and Rand was out there and Rand was talking to Loyal, and then you have Moraine, and you think about who else was at this episode 5. So you have Moraine and the group, right? Moraine's making her way to Camelin. And then you have potentially some of these other individuals who were at this same table read were Aes Sedai. So you could certainly kind of pull this in on the Logain side of things. So if you think about everyone that was there and Matrim wasn't, I'm theorizing that this could mean that episode 5 potentially is still Camelin, like some of the folks on my panel here who we did the live adaptation. I think we hit Camelin. We might have moved on from there, or we hit it right around episode 5. And so that's my theory. Let me hear your reaction, John. What do you think?
Well, I'm a big I'm right behind the theory that that episode, Blood Calls Blood, is from the Great Hunt, and that's where they're at. But now that hearing what you said, I've read some things where people have suggested that the Dark Prophecy shows up in Camelin. Just, that's where they meet Fane. They find him there rather than in Faldera. So it makes sense. It really does. I mean, if he wasn't there, then that does make sense.
Mary loves that.
I do. I'm now thinking, this is just completely off the top of my head, what if they skip Faldara altogether, and instead of the big Tarwin's Gap battle, it's a battle against the false dragon Logain, and it happens in Camelin? So you can still have the epic battle. You could still have, the Eye of the World doesn't have to be up there. I don't know.
Except we have that shot on the mountain, Mary.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's
Beth,
so pretty.
Beth and Joe in
so
chat,
pretty.
They're mentioning that it could be Matt having, gone into the dungeons and being, unconscious, in Faldara. That's possible too.
Yes.
Or he had to pee and he just wasn't in the photo.
Yes, look, this is how this works.
He's not letting the badger loose, so to speak.
We take the smallest thread and we we weave a pattern from it, right? Of theories.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my theory about why his selfie didn't show up. And not only that, the one he did send us, he was almost like he was looking for himself in the script and didn't find himself. That's how I read it. It's not like, again, that I've ever speculated about crazy things that never turned out to be true.
No.
But I do agree that it absolutely, like Joe and Beth were saying, it could be in Faldara. But again, I had to throw that out there. Now, Narg's theory, I think, though, does play along the same lines here. If those of you that haven't read it, I didn't have time to get it into the description, but if you go to Narg's, I think it's on Twitter that he put it. He might have also put it on Instagram. He talks about the idea that Tom Marilyn might not show up until episode 3. And the way he gets there, and I don't have all of the details, but he gets there by tracking, what episodes we know that they were filming, as far as timing, the table read being for episodes 1 and 2. He kind of split up the amount of time, on average for a full production of 8 episodes, how long it would take. Then he tracked down where the actor was at Alexandre I can't remember. William,
yeah.
He tracked where he was, like showing pictures, and I guess he was in Iceland during the time that they were doing episodes 1 and 2. And so his rationale, or I guess right at the end of when they were doing episode 2, he could have potentially been out there. And then we know, I guess, around the time that at least that he told us he was in Prague. So his thought was that because of that Tom might not show up until episode 2, maybe 3. And the idea was that they could be, we know Terran Ferry hits with episode 2. We could hit Berlan if they're going to keep Berlan, and Tom could be there. Or even, once they split up and Matt and Rand end up with Bail Domon, Tom could be on the ship with them. So his 2 spots where they could introduce Tom, instead of introducing everyone up front, they could introduce him a little bit later. What's your reaction to this, Todd? What do you think about Narg's theory?
I mean, I think there for a while we were talking about kicking Tom back to Bear Lawn or even farther back. So I think it has merit. I'm pretty okay with it. Can I just say that I think, in all honesty, knowing the fan base that they have for the Wheel of Time, I would not be the least bit surprised if they're screwing with us and misdirecting, because this is all about the theories.
That would never
Jordan
happen.
was real big on them. Every time something like this happens, I go, yeah, but are they really doing that? Because I just that's the way I would do it, knowing the fan base.
Yeah, and Amanda's pointing out in chat that they could be going back and shooting some earlier scenes because of his availability, right? We don't have a peek behind the scenes in that way, so it's possible that they kind of plan to shoot a scene that's going to show up in the first one, and maybe it's in an inn, and they didn't need the exact location where they were shooting most of the scenes from episode 1 to do the inn shot. There's a lot they can do that doesn't, because maybe the actor was only available at that time, to be able to come and do the shoot. So certainly, but it's a lot of fun. Just like this idea of Matrim not being in the, script selfies at first, it's fun to try to piece these things together because, well, I guess I like Narcs because it helps my theory out in reality. Okay. But maybe John, what was as far as this idea of the episode kind of, pacing.
Yeah.
Where are you at now? I mean, we've gone from at the beginning thinking The Eye of the World was going to be 8 straight episodes. Then it was like maybe 6 episodes in The Eye of the World, 2 in The Great Hunt. Now it's like 4 and 4. I'm kind of curious where the whole panel is, but where are you at? Like if I had to say, are you a 4 and 4, 6 and 2, or 8 for the full book?
We don't even really know it's 8 episodes. We're guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't come out and said we are doing 8 episodes. We only know the title of 6 of them. It could only be 6 for all we know. Like most Amazon shows are 8 episodes. Like you look at, a lot of the ones they've released recently, they're 8 episodes. They like it at 8 episodes. But I think we're looking at 4 for The Eye of the World, 4 for The Great Hunt, if we have 8. And that's if they do the full Great Hunt. If they do 6, I think they'll stop when Rand disappears, when he goes to the other world and meets Celine. I think that would be, to me, other than the big battle at the end of the Great Hunt, the best place to stop the first season would be there, because he disappears. It's a big cliffhanger. People who haven't read the books don't know what's going on. The big protagonist of the series that they think so far, he's now missing. I think it'd be a great cliffhanger to end it on.
Okay. So let me ask this, and to everybody in chat, I'm kind of curious. Here's the options. It's 8 episodes, The Eye of the World only. Then we're going to say 6 and 2 with The Eye of the World and The Great Hunt, or 4 and 4 with The Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. Where are you at with this towel? Do you think it's going to be an 8 for The Eye of the World, 6 and a 2, or a 4 and a 4?
Is this think or hope?
This is yeah. Where's your? I don't know. Wherever you want to take that. Where are you at right now? Where do you?
I would really like to breathe our introduction. I guess I should rephrase that. I would like our introduction to breathe. I don't want to race through 8 episodes of 2 books. I would prefer either 6 and 2 or a full 8 of 1. I could live with 6 and 2.
Yeah. Where are you at, Mary, with this?
5 and 3. No.
Yeah. You and Joshua Burkhardt. You're both 5 and 3s. I love it.
Yeah. No. I would like 6 and 2. I think it's going to be closer to 4 and 4. But it just depends on how they do it. It really does. The pacing is going to be critical. It really is. And there's just a lot of, like I've said this many times, Eye of the World is a chase book. They're running. And so there's a lot of tension that has to build. And then, things just kind of go haywire and go all over the place in The Great Hunt. And so how are you going to control the pacing, and how are you going to control that tension?
Yep.
And I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Todd, what's your hope, or where are you at?
I'm 6 and 2. I got a feeling it's going to be 4 and 4, but I like 6 and 2.
Yeah, I'm a 6 and 2. That's my hope. I think that's a really good pace.
I watched a show that Nobliss did where he said he was talking about a 4 and 4, and he made a really good case for it. But that doesn't mean I have to like it.
Exactly. Did you hear that, Naveless? We don't have to like it. Okay, so that was kind of the majority portion of the big news that came out. If you saw, we got a lot of, the cast hangout photos. If you haven't seen that one, go check out the 10-minute recap I did. I tried to cover all of the kind of relevant Wheel of Time related news, but the cast hangout photos were a lot of fun. We had some, fandom was creating stuff. One of my favorites will still be the Terangrial Nightlight by Weekly Wheel News. It's just a fun thing. Like, I want that. I want him to create one with like the logo of the Dusty Wheel, and I want that at my house. So we have all that news, and then right at the end of the month, January 31st, which was so funny because I was starting to put together the video. I think I was tweeting about this that Friday night. And then this last piece of news was released. So for anyone that's watching that does not want to see the production still that came out of, leak. Look, if anyone's watching, I just want everybody to know, this is news, and we're covering the news here about the show, and plus we're geeks and fans of this, as you noticed, for a long, long time, and this is really exciting stuff. But if you don't want to see this image, we don't know that this image will be used in the show, that it made a final cut. We just know that it's showing a scene between two of those actors. So if you're still here, we're about to show that. Let's put up. This was released by someone onto the internet. It obviously looks like it's definitely from a scene from the show. Let's show that. So this initial one that we received, or that we found, and because Narg didn't have it, Narg found it, and then he shared it. This initial one, I think everyone knows this almost immediately about looking at it, is Matt and Rand. Now, we did try to make this a little bit easier to view. I think I just used like some basic like auto toning here in Photoshop, made it a little bit easier to kind of detect some details. And then I used, I think it was like an auto color. I'm not sure. I did two more, and let's show those. This kind of brightened it up a little bit. You almost can get on this one, you can get more of a feel for what the clothing looks like. And then the last one, I added some Photoshop filter that allows us to kind of almost see what it might look like a little bit more with, you can't really say daylight, but more like daylight. Now, what's interesting about this one is when you look at these, at least for me, a bunch of things stand out. Everyone's talking about this, that Matrim has a beard, right? That was like the first thing. I was like, why does he have a beard?
Damn it.
And then they're showing him looking a bit like lost, and everyone kind of is like, maybe this is related to his eyes. He's blinded at this point, because this is related to Four Kings. But if you look at his hands in this particular photo, I can't tell if there's like, now it just might be the auto color and toning from Photoshop, but it almost seems like his hands might have a little bit of blood on them. I don't know. I looked at it and I was like, no, it's probably some Photoshop effect. But if you look at his knee and his hands, they kind of share that, whatever shade that Photoshop turned that into. Now, there are a couple other pieces here to take into account, which is there's another leg in this photo. We don't know whose leg that is. We don't know if that's actually just someone on production there on the crew, and this is just from that and not an actual cut from the scene, right? We don't know if that person's in this actual scene. And I think there's an axe at that person's foot, to the right of where Rand's at on the ground. And the other piece that's kind of pointed out with this picture, and John, I know you did a video about this, and you pointed this out too, which was that previous images released about, regarding some village that I think some passerbys had just taken a picture of that looked like it was part of, the Wheel of Time set. They clearly look like the home here behind Rand is part of that same village. So before we start talking about any interpretations, is there anything else that stood out to you, John, when you saw this image? Like, what was your first reaction, and what else is there in this image that really kind of, stuck out to you?
Well, my first reaction was Four Kings. I mean, that's just what came out, and the Cole's Notes version of my video that's what I thought. If you take a look at the village in the background, a lot of the characteristics of those houses and stuff, especially where you doctor the pictures and you can see things. You can actually see one of the drawing racks kind of busted off into the corner there too. It looks almost identical to the village that we had leaked pictures of, or the hikers took pictures of.
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that that village is only one village. I mean, it's going to
So
be
true.
it's common for them to build a set and then use it multiple times for different spots, for different shots, because they're not going to build 30 villages. They don't have that kind of money, right? And someone else pointed out when I said it could be Four Kings that, well, it doesn't have the four roads going in. Well, yeah, the village they build doesn't have to have that. They can shoot that. They can make that up.
Right.
So what I think it looks like if you look at the clothes that they're both wearing, they're not real nice clothes. After Faldera, they're in super nice clothes. At least Rand is in super nice clothes because they all make fun of him for it. So
Right.
I don't think it's that far. It's a night shot, or it seems to be a night shot. There's a lot of smoke or fog or mist or something in the area. It's definitely not Shadar Logoth because the buildings behind it don't look anything like the description of the book unless they change things drastically. Someone else had mentioned maybe the ways. Can't be the ways because the ways are empty, so they're not going to show that. I honestly believe it's Four Kings. It's just after the lightning mysteriously hit the inn and let them out. Without giving any spoilers, people haven't read the books. But
if they're watching this far, then they've
they watch it. It's Rand calls down the lightning. It's but it's. I think Matt's dazed. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He's walking towards the camera. He looks confused. Rand has his sword on his hip. We know he does in that scene. The leg that's nearby could be one of the bodyguards that got blasted by the lightning. That's just kind of there. Yeah. He said could be production staff, could be anyone else. I think it's Four Kings though. Like, I would bet money on that. And I said in my video, I bet a lot of things and I lose most of the time. So, but I would still say probably Four Kings.
So you're Four Kings.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Tal, where were you at? So Four Kings is on the table as far as the panels are concerned. Are you sold on Four Kings?
I'm sold.
Did you have a different idea, or are you pretty much now you're?
Well, I wasn't down with your dismissal of it being Shadar Logoth, but at the same time, this makes way more sense to me actually. So I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Canadians unite.
There you go.
Yeah, well, and Rob's bringing up a good point, which there's a little waffo here, watch and find out in reality of what it's actually going to be, because we don't know the context of this. We don't know if this particular scene, this image, is from something that we'll eventually see. So the part that I like is for me, it's just like an overwhelming excitement, right? Just seeing the image, just a single image. And it's amazing how powerful this single image was to my mind, because I don't know, everything else we've seen up to this point, even Rand when he was doing his Vogue shot on the mountain that Rafe shared, even seeing that, or even when Rafe shared the picture of the goat, sheep, Trolloc, whatever that was again, and then he showed us like a really far away shot. He's like, there's somebody shooting a bow in the far background. Those things were like, oh, that's cool. This one made it just real to me, and to a point where now my hype level at this point, it's like daily right now. I cannot wait to see the show. It looks, and again, this is a grainy photo, maybe, I don't know, maybe from a phone. It's not from a looks quality wise in the sense of this image. Just the show and the characters and everything just speak to me as being the eye of the world, the Wheel of Time, and that's the excitement level for me.
I love how you say it made it real for you, because I personally think it's in the dream.
Oh, you think this is a dream?
I think it's a dream shot.
Interesting.
Is there a
very
specific atmospheric
dream?
It's dark. You know how Balsamon is taunting them in their dreams,
right?
This could be a scene of that.
Do you think?
Although I'm really liking the Four Kings angle, but if they're going to keep the dream, they got to start filming some dream scenes.
Where would you put this dream then? If this was a dream, what are you thinking? Is it just at some point along their
Balsamon's taunting them, he's threatening them, he's trying to figure out who's who, and God, I wish I had my book in front of me, but don't we start getting some of the foreshadowing showing up in those dreams with Matt losing an eye, although Rand has both hands, so that's a good sign. Stuff like that. It's a possibility. I'll go out on that limb.
Yeah, okay. So you throw out Four Kings dream. Todd, are you anywhere different when it comes to your interpretation of this scene?
The first thing I saw when I started digging into it is over where the leg is to Rand's right looks like a peddler's wagon of some kind. So I kind of was going Four Kings just because of that. but the leg, I didn't even, until you pointed it out, I didn't even notice that was a leg, but it's definitely a leg.
Well, let me.
So it's
go
funny
ahead.
that I picked up on the
Standing
wagon. I picked up on the wagon and not the leg. So that shows you where I was looking for other clues.
I'm kind of curious what everyone else has to say in chat. If you remember, this is a live call-in talk show. Sorry, I meant to get the call-in moving a little bit sooner, but it is here now. For those of you that have never called in, please do. Not saying this isn't a bad thing if you have. If you've called in before, certainly call back. Nick and Lancer, you know how much we love you. But the phone number is 1-313-825-5968. That's 1-313-825-5968. If you have a comment about this or any news that came out in January that you want to share with us, or if you want to just ask the panel a question, you have a question for John from WoT Up, we'd love to hear you. Give us a call while we continue talking about this topic. This particular piece, interpreting where this is from, is I went around looking to see what else everyone else said, and I found a spot, and I want to read this quote from the book. This is near Faldara. It says, at one farm close by the road, a lone chicken scratched in the yard. One barn door swung freely with the wind. The other had broken off the bottom hinge and hung at an angle. The tall house, odd to Rand's Two River eyes, with its sharp-peaked roof of big wooden shingles running almost to the ground, was still and silent. No dog came out to bark at them. A scythe lay in the middle of the barnyard. Buckets were overturned in a heap beside the well. This, someone posted this, and this absolutely. When I look at this, I read this, and if they came out of the ways, instead of just kind of rushing to Faldara, I imagine they stayed in a village that had been, just empty, an empty village, because they do go by these farmhouses and they notice that people are just gone, and they're kind of curious of like what's going on. And this does give a vibe of just like an empty village vibe when you look at that image. And it's certainly from the other images that I've seen shared as far as this village is concerned. I don't know that it speaks to me like that. This could happen at night after the ways. All of that kind of fits in, when I look at that shot, like they're, they're staying overnight before they move on. And so that's my option here. And we think we have four kings. I think that, a Shannarian village on the way to Faldara is definitely a possibility of what we see here. It looks like we have callers. Let's bring our first caller in. I think we have Lancer here. Let's bring him in. Lancer, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing?
Sam, what's up?
I know. I keep on. It's so funny in this moment. I was like, shoot, I should have said Norm. So what's your reaction to that production still?
You know what? I think it's beautiful. I think it's right on the money. I think it's everything is looking beautiful. I mean, I'm suffering withdrawal pains because I want more and I can't have more. I need more.
That's an accurate way to say it. It's funny because January was so giving. As far as news is concerned. It set a pace that I just don't think is something that they can keep. It's just, the table reads always do this, right? The table read for episode 1 and 2 just kicked off a firestorm of interest and announcements. The same thing with these table reads 5 and 6. Every single time that one of those happens, it does seem like there's just an overwhelming amount of, news and interest. Yeah. So I hear you. It's gonna be a long slog between books, if you will, to get to the premiere. But yeah, withdrawal pains is a perfect place to put it. Well, tell us, when was Lancer? Remind me, I can't remember if we asked this before. When did you begin reading The Eye of the World?
Yeah, I started reading back in 2000 when a friend of mine gave me his book, and I didn't read it for a good minute. And then when I finally started to read it, I know I got through the first 3-4 chapters, but because those 3-4 chapters in the beginning after the prologue were just so bloody long, I had to put it back down. So I didn't touch it for like maybe 6-7 months. And then when I picked it back up again and finally trudged through those first couple of chapters, and then of course they went on that exodus, that's when that roller coaster started, and I was hooked since then. I couldn't stop putting it down. I didn't own any of the books, so I would, just like you, I had to go to libraries to go pick up where's the next book, so I can read them until I can actually start buying the books so I can have them at my disposal. So it was a pretty fun ride in the early going. But I do have a question for our Canadian neighbors, real quick.
Awesome.
This is the same question that I asked Daniel Green. I wanted to ask you, sir, what is your biggest fear for going in for this series? What do you fear the most for this series? And I'll hang up and say much love to everybody out there and peace to everybody in the chat, and I'll sit back and listen.
Thanks. Good night.
All right, so my biggest fear is the CG.
Yeah.
I hate CG. I'm a little bit older, so I love practical effects. I grew up on the 80s horror movies and the early 90s movies where it was all practical effects and there was no CG, like the original Star Wars and Alien and Aliens and the old Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So when they do CG and it's like the Incredible Hulk or like it's really easy to mess up. So for me, if they do the Shadow Spawn, which they're going to have to use CG for, they're going to have to use CG for some of the major cities. They're going to have to use CG for the big battle scenes and CG for the channeling, among many other things. Yep. If it doesn't feel like CG, I'll be super happy. Yeah. If you can tell it's CG, like in Blade 2 when they're fighting in front of the lights, I'll still watch it, but I'll be sick watching it.
Yeah, you don't want it to become Blade 2. I think that's a reasonable request. Let's bring in Daniel Taylor into the call.
I want it to become Highlander 2 either. I just want to put that out there.
Hey Daniel, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing tonight?
Pretty well.
Hey, thanks for being a first-time caller. So what's your reaction to all the news from January?
I mean, I think it's a really good time to be a fan. Honestly, we've had a really good run so far.
Yeah, right. What's been your favorite kind of? It doesn't have to have been in January. What's been your favorite an announcement regarding this Wheel of Time TV series so far?
Well, I was coming up with a theory that I thought was pretty entertaining to me, anyways.
Okay.
I know a while back, I seem to recall there being a casting call that somebody showed up for a barber that didn't have tattoos. That's theorized for the show.
Interesting.
And I noticed with the controversy of Matt's beard and the fact that they talk about Matt disliking having beards later in the series, I thought it would be pretty entertaining idea that they would have a scene whenever they got to wherever they were going where Matt would just get his beard shaven like immediately and have that be part of that casting call.
I love it. Oh yeah. I'm totally in on this. The idea that, he grows his beard and then, it's almost associated with the crap that they had to go through in the first, the first chase, and then he gets it shaved off and he's moving on. Yeah. I love that theory. As far as this production still is concerned, I'm assuming you took a look at it. What was your kind of reaction to seeing that?
I mean, obviously, like everyone else, trying to pinpoint where it was probably the first reaction.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard to do, obviously. I honestly hadn't pictured buildings like that in much of any of my read-throughs for most of the villages that were mentioned. I think Four Kings probably makes the most sense. I don't know, like, if it's shader log-off, then they're going to have to explain to me how a wooden hut survives 1,000 years, I think, in the show.
Yeah, there's definitely no wood in Shadow Logo. That's for sure. At least we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's pretty sound that probably wouldn't be Shadow Logoff unless it's going to be 25 years ago instead of 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. Before we let you go, I'd like to ask just random questions. Which is your favorite casting announcement so far? As far as what's your favorite actor that they've chosen to be in the show?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think my favorite, and honestly, I couldn't really tell you why, but the actress that they have pegged for Nynaeve, something about her just strikes me perfectly. Like, I don't know if it's her eyes, or I don't know what it is, but I look at the headshots that we have of her,
Yeah.
and they're just exactly the way I envisioned the temperament, the kind of the kindness coming from her that's kind of behind all of the angst.
I like it. The kindness behind the angst. I love it. Yeah. I think that's Zoe Robbins. She's gonna kill it, I think, in the series. Well, by the way, thank you very much for being a viewer. Thank you for being in chat with us today, and again, thank you for calling. And hopefully, you'll keep calling back. We're going to keep doing this weekly show well through the series. As long as everyone keeps showing up and chatting with us. So I hope you'll do that.
Yeah, this is great content, and like I said, great time to be a fan.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. Hey, thanks, Jen. We'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely. I love that he said that. This is a great time to be a fan. There's no doubt. It's been definitely a resurgence. If you call it a new turning, it's certainly a great moment for us all to finally get to this point where we're not imagining who the cast members are going to be and saying Brad Pitt and stuff like that. Brad Pitt's going to play in the show. Hey, let's bring in Andrew onto the show.
Oh, I think.
Hey, Andrew, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing?
Thanks. And thanks for letting me call in. I think it would be hysterical if they did like somebody really famous, like Brad Pitt or something, who had a really cameo in an inn or something. But that's beside the point. The question I wanted to know is it possible that Matt's holding it, that the way Matt's hands are positioned, or Barney's hands, if you want to use his real name, is because they're going to put something in CGI in his hands?
Oh, that's a great.
I don't know what it would be, but yeah. I mean, it kind of looks odd the way he's holding his hands.
Yeah. I love that idea that there could be something there. We're just obviously not seeing it. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as far as the panel. John, do you have any ideas if he was holding something? What could it be?
If it's the Four Kings thing, I don't know. I don't know what it could be, honestly. So I think Natalia has an idea, though.
she raised her hand.
Yeah.
just from a post-production and filming perspective, they usually get actors to hold a substitute just so that they can hold it properly in terms of like weight and heft and like where it is in relation to their body and stuff. So I would have expected maybe to see a tennis ball or a green stick or something. But it could be. I mean, who's to say? Because he is holding his hands in a weird sort of like, it's either what is happening, woe is me, or like, oh my God, I just killed somebody and look at the blood on my hands.
Yeah, I know. That's, well, again, whether or not he's blinded here, whatever this scene is, I guess we'll find out. Like Rob said, this is definitely a WAFO moment. But yeah, interesting idea, Andrew. I really appreciate you bringing that in.
I do have another question.
Yeah, go for it.
Quick question for the panel, if you don't mind. Do you think they're gonna de-age or maybe age the great captains? Because they all seem to be, based on their experience, I'm not sure how old they would be, and if you would cast somebody more into their late 40s, early 50s, does that really fit the age, unless I'm totally missing the age of the great captains? Not including the White Cloak great captain, because he's obviously a lot older.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Neil is the oldest.
Yeah, not including him, but the other four. I don't know how old they are relative to, would they de-age them about 10, 15 years?
We know Gareth Bryan is in his 40s. We know Davram Bashir is probably in his 50s, given Fail's age. Rodell Etelrude is younger than he expects to be. I seem to recall, but I couldn't pin an age on him. Mary?
I'd put him in his 40s, but I would also have Gareth Bryn be closer to 50. Because he's been around longer.
That's true. That's true. I'd say they're all in around the 50 mark. Yeah.
Good question. Yeah, good question.
Oh, then I guess you could do that. Okay.
Hey, Andrew, thanks again for calling in. Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate your questions. It's awesome having you on the show.
No problem.
And hopefully we'll see you next week as we continue down this road of just our own, our own drive, our own chase scene to the premiere someday. So, hey man, have a good night.
Yep.
So our next caller is Jacqueline, first time caller from Vancouver. Let's bring her in. Hey Jacqueline, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing?
Oh, a little nervous. I've never done something like this before, but
okay.
I have been a Wheel of Time fan for 25 years. So,
Awesome. My guess is you are very excited, like we are, for this Wheel of Time TV series. Is that accurate?
Oh gosh! So like every time something new comes out, I get like I'm sorry, my daughter is
no worries.
Just woke up from a nap. Every time I see something new, I'm surprised the windows aren't shattered from the squeals of delight. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. What's been, I guess, so along that question line, what's been the most exciting? What would have shattered the windows for you? Of everything that's come out, what's been the most exciting for you?
Probably the casting of Moraine.
Yeah.
Moraine and Nynaeve are my two favorite characters, and they got, Rosamund Pike is amazing.
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. Yeah,
blew me away.
They were smart for bringing her in first,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That kicked off this year for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it helps. You get a really great, actress, and that helps just kind of anchor everything else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and I'm hoping that her chemistry with the young man who's been cast as Rand and the gentleman's cast as Lan. And I'm also really excited from what I've seen of Marcus Rutherford, because I think they nailed it for Perrin.
Yeah. And
from what I've seen of his work.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, you're right. I saw something he had done. I absolutely believe that he can embody Perrin well. They've just, you can tell that they're really going. They're putting the time in, right? This isn't just something that they're like.
They are. They absolutely are.
They're just pick an actor. Let's be honest, right? Amazon wants to make some money here, so they want to do this right. This is a huge series. This has potential to break off into how many additional series, like forever. There's so much material here.
There's so much material. It's so rich. You've got the Trolloc Wars, you've got the Age of Legends, the War of 100 Years, the Aiel War. There's so much that they can pull from.
Yep. What would be your favorite? I mean, maybe I'll ask you that question. Well, if they weren't, we got done with the whole series. We're all just kind of like overwhelmed. We got the whole series. What would you want them to do next?
Trolloc Wars.
The Trolloc Wars?
Trolloc Wars. I want the Trolloc Wars.
I hear that.
There's so many little stories from that. And, and there's pieces like start it like before the wars, because there was so much that was left from the Age of Legends, from the, from before. And it wasn't, it's, you got this post-apocalyptic world where they're starting to build back up, and then all hell breaks loose again, and the Trollocs sweep south, and I think that would be amazing. So
I'm absolutely there with you for sure. That was, by the way, I really appreciate you having the courage to give us a call. This is awesome. I hope you're enjoying this avenue to be able to just chat with geeks all over the world.
I am, and
it's a blast.
I keep popping in and commenting a little bit, but I should probably go because my daughter needs a little mommy time.
No, I love that you called in. Thank you for being a first-time caller. Yeah, absolutely, and hope you'll keep watching us on a weekly basis and give us another call sometime.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you
all
so
right,
much.
maybe I will. Thank you so much.
Yep, bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye. That was cute. So, by the way, if anyone's watching, you might see the video, go away for about 3 seconds, but don't worry, we're still here. We're just swapping a battery. That's what she said as far as the actual Trolloc Wars, doing all these side things, and Rob pointed this out in chat. As far as, Sony also is, bankrolling this. we have both Amazon and Sony, and they want this to be hugely successful. So there's no doubt that is part of the plan, and you can tell that it's showing in the quality of actors that they're getting to play in the series. And I'll say it again, I love that I don't know most of these actors very well at all.
Yeah.
I love that, and I love that the ones I do are fantastic. Let's bring in our next caller. We have two. One we know, and we'll bring her in just shortly. But this is a first-time caller. It's Lauren. He's actually, if those of you that have been watching, we haven't brought him in just yet, but I want to point this out. He just started a new channel called Unraveling the Pattern. If you haven't seen the video he did, it was a lot of fun. Guy's got some skills, when it comes to animation and putting videos together. Looking forward to the next thing he does. So let's bring Lauren in. Hey, Lauren, welcome to the Dusty Wheel tonight. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on, and thanks for jumping in and making some Wheel of Time content. Really, really appreciate that. It's definitely something that we're enjoying and that John's enjoying. So I really appreciate you putting time into that and putting together something that clearly resonated with fans out there. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited about it. I've been geeking out about the Wheel of Time for years and years, and now I get to have a platform to do it online. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, you're among like-minded people. So I see that you had a question. When your call was screened, what was your question for the panel?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a bit of a plug for my channel because I'm currently writing the script and doing research.
Okay.
For the next episode.
Okay.
But I wanted to get the opinions of the panel on this particular topic, which is, I don't want to derail the conversation. It's a little unrelated to what you've been talking about.
Okay.
But I find it a really fascinating topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So it's about the difference between threads and souls. And where do souls go? I'm not talking about Heroes of the Horn.
Oh, my.
Just regular people's souls.
Hey, shut up, everyone. Hey, shut up, everyone else. Shut up, everyone else, and give your question. Don't just ignore all the rude people on the panel. You asked this awesome question.
I'm genuinely curious because I'm trying to put together my script about the pattern, the nature of the threads of the pattern, what makes up reality, all of that.
Yeah. So
I can't quite find any good information about where the souls go when they die, or if threads and souls are always connected, or if they're separated. Are threads only when the people are alive, for example?
Yeah. So
in reality.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
What
Matt's not allowed to go first.
No.
Okay, go ahead, Todd.
No,
I don't want to derail the conversation too long. I know we have other callers in. This is by the way, great question. First of all, second, this is a question that we've been talking about for 30 years, and there's a lot of knowledge on this panel about this question. And it might be
do a whole show on this question.
Yes, we will do a whole entire
really
show.
Could.
Maybe you should put a video together, and then we'll do a show about it. So maybe this actually this question is probably too long. So go ahead, Todd, give an answer here, and then I'm probably going to say that we in the comments we can kind of start digging into this a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love that.
I don't want to have this go too long.
I'll let you have at it, Matt. I was just go ahead.
Yeah, so
you're the master. You're the master of this theory.
Well, we'll just make it really quick. The souls are definitely different than threads, and souls do go back. We don't have a name for the place, but we all call it the soul pool. They absolutely go back to a place. Souls can't be destroyed, except they can be eaten by two entities in the world, and so they're pretty much destroyed. I think Jordan said Mashadar can eat them. I think it was Mashadar. No, it was Blackwind. Anyways, but the thing that he said can actually destroy a soul, I believe, is the Dark One. But anyways, getting into the details, I would recommend going and doing some searches on Theoryland's interview database. That is going to give you your best source for this question. The in-world sources, it will not be enough. So if you go to theoryland.com, click on the interview link on the left, and just start searching for pattern or threads or souls, you'll get a whole slew of information from Robert Jordan there. And and maybe some contradictory information. But I think that's the best place for you to go instead of
And
trying
then go
to,
looking in the theory database.
Yeah, and then go in the theory database
Yep.
for some ideas.
Yeah.
And let's go into, and certainly in
So
comments.
just to confirm, though,
Yeah, go ahead.
so just to confirm, is there definitely no confirmation that when people die, they go to the World of Dreams? Is that only heroes that we know is confirmed?
Yeah, that they might be
you-
in the World of Dreams is not really. Clearly, heroes can access the World of Dreams, but I don't think that all souls are waiting in the actual in Teleron Riyadh. That's not canon, if you will.
And what about the gap of infinity? Like, do you mean the gap of infinity, or do you mean the world of dreams?
Look, let's not go down that road right now. I think.
Okay,
This is a great question. This is a great
Thank you
question.
for taking my question.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I
great
appreciate
question.
it. Thank you, guys. I really love the channel, and I'm gonna keep watching. So
yeah, please do. And like I said, we'll definitely have you on. Go ahead and go follow on Twitter. We'll me on Twitter, and I'll send you a note, and we can kind of continue this conversation there or in the comments. Hey, I appreciate you very much for being on, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yep. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah,
Bye.
that's a huge question. I would love to
That's
have time. That's another show.
That's an hour-long theory.
Yeah,
right
bring
there.
him in
It's a
as a guest
mini-series.
panelist on that one. Yeah,
Yeah, we should.
Yes.
We should do that. That'd be great. So our next caller, I think you know her. Her name is Sarah, and
Hi, Sarah.
She's in Prague. Sarah, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing?
Hey,
Hey.
I'm so good. How's it going?
Good. What time is it?
I actually didn't. It's just after 4 a.m. I've got an early set call today. So,
Awesome.
but I did want to wake up in time to see the show.
Really
or at
appreciate
least
that.
catch the second half of it. Yes. But I was calling because I wanted to. I don't know if you already cleared this up or not since I sent you that note. But for our actor, I think everybody calls him Joshua.
Oh yes. No. Yeah.
But yeah. So his name is Yosha, and so I just wanted to tell everybody that it's Yosha, and I think he would appreciate that correction. Not that he's in any way, shape, or form a diva about it, but I just thought it was really funny. Because I called him Yasha or Joshua until I met him.
Well, it's funny because I went back and watched like all the videos that like YouTube content creators have done, and everyone's calling him Joshua or Josha or whatever. And yeah, and I'm totally guilty of that. So Yosha is the way to pronounce it, and from now forward we will pronounce Yosha your name properly or more properly. I'm sure I'm still butchering it in some form or fashion.
Are gingers allowed to be divas? They're soulless, right?
Oh no, he's the sweetest kid and loves to talk about the Wheel of Time. He's so fascinated by everything, and so it's been really fun to kind of get to dive into things and theory with him, because he's like, but where does it go? And so it was really, because I don't want to give him too much information. I want him to discover things on his own, and I don't want to overwhelm him with Rand's story arc, because it's a lot. But he made a great comment to me yesterday about the movie, the new incarnation of It. And he's like, oh, it'd be so great to play a crazy psychopath one day, and I just started laughing hysterically.
Oh man, that's good.
Read and find out, huh?
Read and find out. Right.
Yeah.
How, I don't know if you can answer this question, but do you have does it vary a lot between for the cast of how many of them have read a lot versus a little of the books? I don't know if that's something you can tell us. I'm curious, like how much do you ever once in a while find a cast member where like, whoa, you know the whole series, or no, have they kind of like investigated it and know just as much as you? Oh, maybe not as much as you, but they know the series, or is it more the line of, you know, they're new to it and they're excited about it and they're just learning about it?
It's right now, most of them are new to it. And, you know, everybody's like, I don't understand how I couldn't have known about this before, because I love fantasy. And everybody always asks me, how do I not know about this? Why is that? And I said, well, you know, when all the 90 million people who've read The Wheel of Time were reading it. This was before the age of social media. And so, unfortunately, when the books were coming out, we all really missed out on that level of marketing, sort of that viral thing like Game of Thrones had. But I think we're experiencing it now, or we will at least. And so, most of them are new to it. Some of them read faster than the others.
Right.
And, some of them are a lot further along. And, but from what I understood or understand, in my conversations, they're all sort of newly introduced.
Yeah, it's probably fun. I mean, I imagine, it's hard to think back to the first time I read the books, but I imagine this is actually, to have such a excited fan base about this and wanting to engage so much and being so excited for them to jump in. I'm sure that that's helping them engage with the books and the story and wanting to do justice to the story itself. I'm sure, at least that's in my head, that's how I imagine this must be for them, which is like, oh my gosh, there's this huge fandom. They're so excited about this. And them being kind of very interested in understanding why there's such a devoted fan base.
Yeah,
Hey, Sarah,
I have my own theory. Yes.
So, sorry, that was my Siri, not me.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Did you say Siri? Todd.
I guess somebody said, Siri popped up.
That was weird.
Yeah, go ahead.
Siri
That was amazing. So no, I have my own theories as to why The Wheel of Time is so meaningful and why it resonates so intensely and why us fans are so attached to it. And that's because I think when you meet most of us, we all have a story about when we first read the book, or what was going on in our lives at the time the books were brought to us. And so that sort of emotional attachment, kind of, you latch on to that if you're having some sort of upheaval. But I've never met a person who doesn't have a very powerful story when they were first, kind of first read the books. And then, we read it the first time for the story, and then we come back for the characters, and we come back over and over and over because we miss the characters. We'll miss Matt, and we miss Nynaeve. And it's, the story is great, but it's the people and the friends that we make along the way in the story, I think that is so powerful. And so, I kind of explain that whenever I chat with them, because of, we do get comments about, wow, this fandom is huge and crazy and insane and so fun. Why do you guys keep reading it? And so that's always been my pat answer. But anyways, I've been on the line for a long time. I don't know if you've got anyone else.
Oh no! Well, I just wanted to say thank you for calling. Yeah, thank you for calling and sharing that.
Course.
That's fantastic to hear. I'm sure for you being there and seeing the characters that you're talking about, that we go back to the books and read, and seeing these individuals embody those characters has been an amazing experience. And someday it'll be fun to talk about that when you can. But no, I appreciate you calling in and waking up for the show. As always, we so appreciate that. And
give our best to Yosha and the entire cast.
Yes, please do. Please do.
We won't mispronounce it again.
Let them know that they're always welcome at the Dusty Wheel.
I will, for sure. It's great. They're I have turned a few of them on, and so they might be secretly lurking. Who knows? Or not this morning, but they do rewatch, which is really great.
Awesome. That's fun to know.
So,
cool.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you guys and maybe be in chat next week.
Awesome. Sounds great, Sarah. Hey, have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right. You too. Talk soon.
Bye.
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 Okay, so that was awesome.
Yeah.
Having Sarah in, it was so great.
Highlight of my day.
Yeah, right. Having her talk about that, and that's, and obviously. A lot of people will be like, "Why didn't you ask her who killed Asmodean?" Whatever. It's like these as though we're gonna sit here and like pepper her with questions that clearly are private. But it was really cool for her to be able to at least talk a little bit about that experience of speaking with the cast about, the love of these books and why it's there, and to hear that the cast is really invested in this idea and is getting behind this idea that, oh my gosh, there's this huge fan base, and they keep on going back and reading these books over and over again for a reason, because they really care about these characters. So that's awesome to hear. That was cool. Thank you again, Sarah. And hopefully Yosha and the rest, hopefully you are watching this someday, and hopefully we'll get to, actually talk to you at the Dusty Wheel. That'd be amazing. We have one more caller tonight. Let's bring in John. You were great for waiting. Let's bring him in here. 1 second. John, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing?
How do I follow that?
That is a great question, but hold on, that's a great question. But the Dusty Wheel is for us all. I'm gonna
do my best. So I was the guy ranting on chat about the Terran Fairy theory, but I am just blown away. I now have this whole. All right, so Sarah is the Amerlin seat, running the whole Aes Sedai of teaching all of these people how to be
That's great.
people in this world. And I mean, my mind is blown. I mean, seriously, the idea that these people, that Yeshua, Barney, I mean, the people in the picture that I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
These guys, they're going to be the ones that end up with the chalice of holding these characters that we all love so much. And I think the idea that maybe they have their own perspectives that are sort of, I'm not going to say fed, but kind of directed or given to them over time, that maybe their insulation from the subject matter, maybe they aren't total experts, but that's okay because they have Sarah. They've got Sarah. The Aes Sedai will always take care. They will always make sure world events
I love
go
it.
the way they need to go. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think the Amerlin of the cast.
She's the Amerlin. She's the Amerlin.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
the Amerlin of the entire situation. It blows my mind. But anyway, I think it's Terran Fairy. All right. I think it's Terran Fairy.
Okay.
I think the elevation of the ladders. I think the ladders going up. I think even when you showed all of those shots with the various kind of filters, it still looks like there's some washway beneath the building. So I'm thinking it's with the fog and all of this, it's Barney and Barney's expression just looking at being blown away by Moraine, and for the very first time, you see Rand looks like, he looks uncomfortable with the sword. I'll say that. I'll say he's going to look uncomfortable with that sword for the first 3 books, of course, but
well, okay. So my only quibble with Terran Fairy is that Matt is fully bearded. Now, maybe he starts the show with the beard, right? So it definitely could be Terran Fairy if he starts the show with that beard, right? Because we know episode 2 they get to the Terran Fairy, so he definitely wouldn't have grown it in that time, and that's the only reason why it's like if he starts off clean shaven, then this suggests to me that it's much further down the road than necessarily Terran Fairy. Now, maybe he starts off bearded.
It's kind of it's road wear. He's haggard because of his time on the road.
I think he would have to start off bearded, clearly, for this to be Terran Fairy. So that and he absolutely could, right? This could bring in that other theory from the previous caller where
seems Matt to me. It seems like, look at this chinny chin chin I'm trying to develop, and that's kind of like before we've had any sort of festival, he's still there. Just scratching his chin.
Yeah, I like that. I like that Matt wants it. He wants Nynaeve to treat him like an adult or something. So he's
to look a little more grown up. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's kind of the man's equivalent of braiding his hair.
I love it. I love that idea, and absolutely, I think Terran Fairy is legit as far as where it could be. I think all the options that everyone's put out here so far are pretty, are legitimate ideas, and that's the fun part of this, right? We have a whole 9 months, a year and a couple months, who knows what exactly it is, and the fun part about this is just getting a little nibble like that of this picture, and just being able to enjoy it as fans, right? Just like Sarah's call, right? Like you can enjoy that moment, right? Yeah, a little waffo. But that's the fun part about this is this entire year right? This is going to be in a year of waffles, right? Every time there's an announcement. So I love that piece of it. So before I let you,
Waffo 2020, I want a big red hat.
Waffo 2020. I love it. Yeah. We need to see those at JordanCon or something. Waffo 2020. What's the? So let me ask you one question before I let you go tonight. What is the favorite from January? Although it's fine if you go all the way back to the beginning. But what's been your favorite casting announcement so far?
Barney, honestly, everything I've seen with this, it's the grin.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man,
the grin. I mean, I feel the dice rolling on that kid's head.
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. Barney is great. It's so hard, right? I get the fun job of asking that question because answering is so difficult. But yes, I can see why Matrim here.
I can say with confidence.
It's definitely Barney. Yeah. Barney, Rosamund, they're all great. It's way too much fun to and wait until we actually get them on screen. Oh my God, that piece is just going to be, it's going to be killer.
Can we wait? We wait? Or we shake down the doors.
Yeah, I think.
And shout out to Ariel Burgess for her artwork of Barney as Matt.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
That was. If you haven't seen
great.
it, go look it up. And props to Ariel for putting that together.
Yeah.
So
great.
Shout out Burgess for sure.
Like Sarah just said, Barney is the best in chat. Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait. By the way, thank you very much, John, for calling in. Really appreciate that, you being a first-time caller and showing up and following Sarah. You know, I really appreciate that. That was a great way to get on. Like, how do I follow that? That'll live with me for a good week.
Kudos to you.
That's so great.
I did my best.
Well, by the way, hopefully you'll continue watching and calling in as we make our way to the premiere, you know, with our live adaptations and fun kind of theory shows and back to the news. Hopefully next month, we'll keep doing this monthly as far as recaps and talking about, hopefully we have fantastic things to show or to talk about. The next one is actually on my birthday. So that'll be a fun show to do, a fun news show. I'm hoping they give us some good news to talk about on my birthday. So anyway, have a good
52.
Yeah, have a good night to you. Please do call us back, okay?
Yeah, I'll do my best. Yeah.
Okay, man. Hey, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. So, that was crazy. I love those calls. We went a little bit longer than maybe we normally do here. It's always like an hour and a half long show. Really appreciate everyone who's shown up today and been chatting. You guys are awesome. And thank you very much for all of our first-time callers for, you know, calling in and being, I know it's like, maybe you haven't done this before. I haven't necessarily ever called in to talk to people on the Wheel of Time. I always just made message boards and talked to people online until I went to JordanCon. Definitely show up at JordanCon. It's a lot of fun. It's just like this, except we're sitting on couches and chairs and we're geeking out until, you know, early in the morning, all about the Wheel of Time. So think about it. It's fun. If not, make your plans for next year. And to my panelists, you guys are awesome. Thank you for showing up and for being part of this, show. And don't forget that we do have a Discord channel that you can go and jump in there. I'll try to be in there as often as I can. It might not be that often, but definitely around the shows, I'll make sure I get in there. We'll start seeing if, you know, we want to kind of building that community. That'd be fun. So meet us in there and we can continue a lot of these discussions. And yeah, back, John, thank you very much. I love your channel. If you guys aren't following John at WoT Up, go subscribe to him right now. He's a lot of fun. Our Canadian Nablus. He just tells it like it is. He tells it straight. Hopefully you saw that tonight. He doesn't pull any punches, and I love that about your show. John, do you have any parting comments, questions, reactions for tonight before we close up?
Just want to thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I rarely get to watch a show live because the few hours I get in the evening usually start about 10 o'clock my time, which is when this starts. So I do catch them afterwards, but it's been a real pleasure to be part of it and talking with you guys and with Sarah as well. That was highlight of my day, Sarah. Just, it was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a highlight. Oh yeah, for everybody. That was so great. And you never know what's going to randomly happen or who's going to call. That's been the fun part. You know, Nablus has called before. Daniel called. We have just random people show up at the show and they call in, and it's just It's so much fun doing this format. We'll be back, as a reminder, next week doing a live adaptation of The Great Hunt. And beyond that, we have after that kind of we'll either be covering Jordan Con a little bit later after that, and then we'll do our roundtable also this month, which will be a lot of fun too. So keep tuning in. Our weekly shows happen on WoT Wednesday, we call them. Even though Amazon stopped doing their once monthly, every Wednesday is a WoT Wednesday for us here at the Dusty Wheel. And with that, I'd like to say good night to everyone. Smash to black.